Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Same Person Radio. I am one of your hosts, Justin McFadden. Joining me, as always, coming down the aisle at 6'4", 245 pounds of man flesh, it's Galvanator Steven Galvin.
Woo! Yeah, we love him. He's the best.
And also joining, coming down the aisle at maybe 5'6", around 150-ish pounds, downtown Donnie Brown.
Boo, he sucks.
Boo.
Yeah, happy WrestleMania day. If you're listening,
Yeah, happy WrestleMania.
you probably won't. Take it away,
Well,
Calvin.
yeah, I don't know what I could do after that. Like, that's like, what the fuck was that?
It was that good. You no
Mine's
words.
blown. Mine's blown.
Right. Speechless. Speeches. Hello, everybody. And like our wonderful ring announcer, Justin, has mentioned, welcome to episode 6. I am Steven. He is Justin. And our special guest that we had last time, downtown Tony Brown, we've decided to add as a permanent fixture on Same Person Radio. So welcome, Tony.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
I thought you did such a good job. We wanted to bring you back every other
Ooh, he sucks.
I'm like Ric Flair. You can't get rid of me. I'll just stay around forever.
Good God. As long as you don't get oily and leathery like he does, then I think we're fine.
No promises. No promises.
Great. All right, guys. Well, how's things going? How's everybody been?
I am doing personally pretty good. It's WrestleMania Day, one of my favorite days of the year, so I'm pretty excited. If you hear a baby at any point during this show today, you will know why, because it's my son and my wife is not home, so I am babysitting him. Well, I shouldn't say babysit. I'm watching him. I'm in charge of him right now. I'm his father. So he is here. So if he decides to, he just had a nice bottle of milk, he should probably stay pretty quiet. He usually does. So, but if he doesn't, that's why. So there you go.
Oh, all right. Tony, how about you?
I'm doing pretty good. The Beer Wing Fest was fantastic yesterday. It's good hanging out with everybody. I found out my landlord, they just left yesterday, and they left beer in the refrigerator. I found this morning, so I am very happy.
Man, you are pumped too. WrestleMania and beer, man,
Mm-hmm.
that's a good combination. I'm pretty good. Like you said, Tony, the Beer and Wing Festival was pretty good yesterday. Got with all those people and kind of crazy. I wasn't gonna wait in line for 3 chicken wings for.
Yep.
This one. But it was it was overall pretty good. So. Out to dinner, lunch, dinner, supper, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a party of, what did you say, Tony, like 18 people or something like that? Like
About.
Yeah. So we started with like 10 people, and then it grew to about 18 people. And we pretty much took over the Tilted Kilt and, rearranged our own tables however we wanted to, and had a little issue at the end when we were trying to get the bills done, because the waitress couldn't separate the bills. And yeah, which is weird. And, so basically what we did is she gave us all one bill, and then we kind of wrote down in a very neat order whose card was which number, and what they got on the receipt. And so it took her probably about 30 minutes to try and get all this payment information good to go. And, yeah. And so, yeah, Tony was waiting. So basically what I did was I got up and I went over to her, trying to do it, finish it up. And I basically had to walk her through everything and get the payments separated. So basically what I wanted to ask you guys is, when you have something like that, what are your thoughts on tipping or not tipping really at a restaurant?
Who would you like to go first?
Sure. Me or Steven, Justin.
I don't care. Whoever wants to go first.
I guess I'll go first.
You were there, so we'll just go with you.
Yeah. I'm usually not a big tipper, but I'm for that. They're tipping as long as you're being served. I'm not much of a like if I go to Pizza Hut or something to pick stuff up, I don't normally tip or carry out. I won't tip. But if somebody's serving me, making it a little easier for me, granted if they're doing a good job, I'll tip them.
Yeah. I usually, if I go to like a sit down restaurant to like eat, I usually even if I get shitty service, I'll probably leave them a tip. It'll just be a really bad tip, just so they know that I didn't forget the tip or something. Just be like, I just feel like that if you forget the tip, it like this leaves it like this may sound like an asshole, but this leaves it like to like, oh, maybe they just forgot. Like I want to send a message. Like I want them to know you sucked. Like I want you to know you need to get better at your job, otherwise, you might not have this job. So usually like if we have good service, like above average service, we'll leave maybe like 20%, I guess. If it's good, we'll probably leave a little less than that, or like average, it'll be like 15 around that way. But then like if it's bad, like because I've had bad service before, I know that's one of your sticklers, Steven. But yeah, then I'll leave a little less. So I'm actually interested in what you're going to say, Cal, about the situation.
I was actually pretty much hashtag same person with you. If I think that leaving no tip, leaving like $1 on like a $40 bill sends more of a message that you fucking suck at your job than leaving no tip at all. Because one, it doesn't make you look like a total asshole, but then it also makes you look like a little bit of an asshole because you only left $1. But people should know. I feel like if you're going to get a small, like if you're a server at a restaurant and you know you're not in a good mood, you should probably expect, not a lot of tips. But like you said, I'm a stickler for shitty service, and I think you should never not leave a tip for somebody like that, especially because that's how they get paid. So it's kind of like, it just, I don't want to feel that bad and like an asshole. Like, well, you're getting paid $1.50 an hour as your hourly wage, and the only way that you're gonna live is basically off of me tipping you. So, if it's good service, I typically will do. I mean, even if it's really average kind of service, I still do about 20%, and the only reason I do that is because it's easy math for me.
Do you know what? Probably, honestly, now you think about it, yeah. That's probably true because you just say, I'll just double that number, and all right, we're good, we're done. We don't have to think about it. Unless they have like one of those kiosk things, then I'll just be like, ooh, let's make
or even the ones with the receipts that like give you the estimated tip.
Like, this is what we wanted to,
right. You could do 15, 18, or 20%, and here's what the values are.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and so like the situation with yesterday was our total bill was like $407 between all of us. Yeah.
Yep.
And so I mean 20% of that's literally $80. So the girl, was gonna make good money. It was just a matter of separating everything, and so it was a matter of separating everything. So it's like, well, what are you tipper? Because she was pretty good, and then some other people helped a little bit, but I left a little more than 20% just because I felt bad because of how she had to do it, and like I could see her at her waitress stand like getting frustrated, and I felt bad. Just I don't know. I tipped pretty well.
Plus, it was tilted killed, so
plus it was tilted killed. So
there were some good things to look at. So you're probably like, here's a little
extra. My wife's right here, but here's a little extra because your boobies are hanging.
Aaron, she was probably looking too, so don't feel bad.
She was, honestly. Our other friend who had never been to Tilted Kilt, she was ordering her drink, and then when the waitress walked away, she looked at me and she's like, I can't stop staring at her boobs. And this is a girl, mind you, who, I was like, oh, okay. That's why that's why they do what they do.
You're like, hashtag same person.
Right, exactly. I was like, don't worry about it. Everybody's looking at her boobs. It's okay. So, yes, Tony, you were mentioning, like, when you go, to get pizza and carry out, you don't tip. But what are your guys' thoughts on tipping, like, pizza delivery guys? And, like, how much do you think, you should tip a pizza delivery person?
Ooh, that's a tough one because I haven't got delivery in so long. Oh man, that is real difficult. I mean, I don't normally do I usually tip them if I have change. If I do it by cash, I'll let them keep the change. So I'll maybe give them like $4 or $5.
Yeah.
I don't. It's been so long. I can't remember if I really followed the 18-20%.
Yeah,
it's just like. Yeah.
Would you say you do it more of a fixed, like you said, fixed $4 or $5 every time, or like?
if I spend what $15 on a pizza and I
Yeah.
have a 20, I'll say just keep the 5.
Okay.
But if it takes them like an hour,
Yeah.
or like, if it takes an extreme amount of time for them to get to the house, I'm like, okay, nah, change, and here's maybe a couple of dollars.
Okay. Justin, how about you?
See, here's the thing. Because I usually order my pizzas online, and then you can put the tip in there. So usually I just do like a flat $3. And now I feel like is that not enough? But the thing is like we live in the middle of town, so it's like they literally have to drive maybe 2-3 minutes, and I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it's okay, now there is an exception to that rule. I'll do $5 if it's like snowing, and I'm just feeling like a lazy asshole, and I'm just like, screw it. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to cook anything.
You're gonna risk somebody else's life for your fucking.
I'm gonna send you through a fucking gauntlet of ice and snow to get me some fat to stuff my fat mouth.
Right.
Your life is worth $5 to me. So.
Right.
Exactly.
That's actually
$5 if you die. That'll pay for your funeral.
Right. Yeah. Here, I'll buy you a flower for your funeral. It's $5.
I can get one letter on your gravestone. The H in here lies.
Oh goodness. Yeah, the place that we get pizzas, we only can really get delivery from one pizza place where we live, and it's Domino's, and it's like maybe a 30-second drive from the Domino's to our house. And either way, still I tipped them about $3, roughly $3-4. It's usually about that every time. But then also with Domino's, when you order online, they charge you like a $2.50 delivery fee.
Mm-hmm.
So they're already getting that anyway. But then I don't know. I think about it, I'm like, man, that like I don't know how many deliveries pizza guys make a night, but like he got $5 from me. So like, yeah, I guess if he does 20 deliveries, that's $100 if he doesn't get gypped from somebody. So I mean, I guess they could make.
They probably pay him too. I mean,
yeah, they probably get paid. Yeah, for like mileage and they make even minimum wage would help. With whatever, but I don't know. I guess we're pretty same on everything.
I usually don't do the percentage on that. I usually just do like, okay, this is what I just do the same amount. Or like Tony said, if it's like if I have cash, I'm paying cash, and I have a $20 bill. I say the bill's like 16. I'm like, screw it. I don't care about the extra $1. It's fine.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna go crazy and try to figure out how to shave $1 off that situation.
What about like going to get your hair cut? What about not tipping there? What's your thoughts?
Well, I don't tip myself because I cut my own hair, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah, it looks like shit.
No.
All right, Tony, I know you get your hair cut.
Yes. I'm going to be the a-hole on here. So I know how much my haircut costs. It's usually like $18 to $20. If I have the money, maybe I'll tip them. But a lot of times I usually have the exact amount. They're like, oh yeah, it's $20. I'm like, oh well, you want to take cash, so
here's the 20.
Here's that 20, and
here's that 20.
I'll see you next time.
Damn. So one day they're just gonna fuck your shit up.
Like,
this guy never tips.
Reverse mohawk.
Right.
It used to be 15 at the place I used to go. So I used to always get $20 out, and I just say, here, keep it, and then But now it's gotten more expensive. So the last time I did have $30, I had like $30. He gave me 2 5s back. He just $20. I gave him 2 5s back, and I can let him keep a 5. So I'll tip if I have it, but a lot of times, I'm not gonna get extra out of the bank to tip.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'm the douchebag at the barbershop. So
there's another situation where this comes up. Sometimes I take the car to this place called Fast Eddie's. It's a car wash place where they run it through. Yeah. And if I don't have usually what a lot of people do is they leave like $1 or $2 to the people that dry your car and kind of like wipe down the dash and stuff. Mm-hmm. If I pay with a card, I'm like, and I don't have a single, I'm like, oh well. It's kind of, and I'll just be like, thanks. That's my, like, have a good, like, it's not like, I don't know if it's required. It's just like some people like, oh, you should leave them a tip. Because sometimes they like walk up and almost like, hey, your car is ready with like their hand kind of like already like in position to maybe, and you're like, cool. Do you want a handshake or what do you want here?
High five.
Right. So if I have, like Tony said, if I have like a single or two, I'll give them that. But if I don't, I'm like, I kind of like half feel bad for like a second, then I'm like, well, oh well, like, No, sorry.
In that case, I would flip flop because if you just put your hand up, like just saying, "Hey, I did this. Give me this money," I would kind of be less willing. But like if you're like, "Man, he just did a good job," and like, "Here you go. Here's your car, sir. Thank you." I'm like,
Right.
you know what? Here you go. But it's like kind of like tip me. It's like like I'm expecting
like it's like this is part of this. Give me money. It's like no, it's actually not. And the thing is, sometimes too, they don't drive my mirrors or like the back part, like under like where the like kind of where the license plate is. So then when I start driving, there's vibration. It drips down. I'm like, well, what the fuck? Like you should have dry this a little bit. And they usually don't. I mean, they do usually. I mean, you can tell. Like I'll kind of like look and go, okay, yeah, they did a good job or not. But it's one of those where, like I said, if I have the singles, I'll be like, all right, here's just 2 singles or whatever. But usually I don't carry cash on me, so it's one of those things where I'm like, sorry, I don't have cash. So
I never carry cash. So if I can add a tip when using my card, I'll be more inclined to do that. And then, like you guys said as well, if they're making it seem like they're expecting the tip, they're not gonna get a tip from me. Like the tip is go fuck yourself and don't act like an asshole. Like you did a good job, but you're not gonna tip.
I mean, if the guys at the car wash carried like a square reader or something where I could just like slide my card and give them $2, then maybe I would do that. But like, hey, I don't have any cash. Do you have a square? Like, do you have a PayPal? I'll just email you $2.
Apple Pay, just touch. Can you touch phones? Is that even a thing?
Here, I got $2 in my watch. Here you go.
Well, I don't know. We're not assholes. We tip for our friendly servers out there. Just give us good service.
Yeah.
And all right, so we usually do a segment on our podcast called Crossfire, but we are going to change it up since Tony's going to be a more permanent fixture on the show, and we're going to start calling it our Triple Threat.
Triple Threat. We're going to get a theme here soon. Triple Threat. Triple Threat.
I'm not Roman Reigns because he is stupid.
For those that don't know, we said Triple Threat, and then Tony in our text chat posted a picture of the Shield from WWE, and we were like, hey, Gal, you're Roman Reigns because no one likes you.
No, you guys can go screw yourselves. So what we are going to change it to is having one kind of statement, from each person, and then the other two will kind of give a short response to that. So try it out for the first time. All right, Tony, what's your triple threat topic of the day?
Mine is, since in the vein of WrestleMania weekend, I've been hearing a lot that, so now they call WrestleMania the Ultimate Thrill Ride. They don't really say WrestleMania 30. It's 33, right, Justin?
Yes.
Okay. They don't really say WrestleMania 33. It's the Ultimate Thrill Ride. And I've been hearing in podcasts that I guess Vince McMahon doesn't like using the numbers lately because it makes it seem old. And I was just thinking, what do you guys think of that? Does that make something feel old? I know you guys will know this is more in your guys' realm, like Super Bowl. It's Super Bowl. What is it now? 51? I don't even know. Yeah, 51. And like, is there a case of that using the number, and does it make it seem older, or or does it make it seem like a legacy thing? What do you guys think?
Justin, you can go first on this one.
See, that's a different, interesting question. I personally, because I know the 1 year for WrestleMania, they just I don't remember if it was 51 or whatever, or not 51, no. 31 or something. I know they just called it like WrestleMania, and there was like they didn't
play
have
button.
The play button, they didn't have like a number on it. So then they brought it back. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I could see that being true. I don't know. I kind of think it almost for Super Bowl. I don't know. I don't know if it's different or not. But I like I think WrestleMania is one of those things where it's like maybe you don't need the numbers so much just because it's like it's WrestleMania. It's like the biggest wrestling event of the year. So but at the same time, it's one of those things like with legacy, like you were saying. It's like the kind of like there's been there's a legacy behind this. Like you can go back and kind of, it's the biggest show, but there's been, this happens every year, just kind of like the Super Bowl. But I guess personally, I think I would be fine if they just dropped the numbers and just be like, this was WrestleMania. Although if you're playing any drinking games tonight, and one of the things is have a drink every time they say the Ultimate Thrill Ride, you'll be dead by like first hour through it. And it's like 6 hours long. So you'll be dead. You'll miss Goldberg versus Lesnar.
Yeah. The 30-second match that'll be. Yeah. I think, in the sense of wrestling, because of how like kind of hot and cold people can be watching it, and how it's not like the wrestling fan base is literally like mostly hardcore fans. There's not as many more casual fans, you know. It does. I think it's a good business thing to drop the numbers because, like, it's like Jesus, like here's another WrestleMania, like that's the kind of thing. Like people like me, I don't really get negative like that, but I mean I could see where he's going with that. But then like things like the Super Bowl, I feel like have such a more wider audience and excuse me, wider audience, and it's a more storied and kind of historic past. So it's like the numbers kind of, I don't know, have a little bit more meaning, I guess. Not really more meaning, but you know, that's just what, I guess.
Kind of like it shows its importance that it's been here for 51 years.
Yeah, right.
So, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you can.
So you guys you would feel a certain way if it was like the 2017 Super Bowl or just Super Bowl 2018, Super Bowl 2019.
I would actually hate that as a football fan.
Oddly enough, yeah, I would.
So you would still want the numbering there.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
okay.
Because just saying Super Bowl like 2017. Yeah, I don't know something about it. I don't know why that is that way either. It's just like because just hearing like Super Bowl, what was it this year? 51.
Yeah, it was 51 this year.
You know, I know. Okay, that was the year where the Falcons blew it basically, and then you think about that type of thing,
right?
Like
if somebody was like, who won the the 2013 Super Bowl? I don't know who won.
I don't know who's in the Super Bowl.
But if I said the number, you would know.
I'd be more inclined to know.
Yeah, I probably
Well, Justin, wouldn't that be like keeping the number for WrestleMania? Because you say WrestleMania 17.
I'm like almost flip flopping a little bit now that I'm thinking about. Because I think if you said like because then at that point you'd have to just say WrestleMania 2016. But I think you're right. Now I'm starting to kind of more turn like first these big events like this where I feel like WrestleMania is the one wrestling event a year where people might actually tune in that don't normally watch wrestling. So it's the same as kind of the Super Bowl in a way, whereas there's people that don't watch football, but they go to Super Bowl parties. They watch football on that one day. They may not give a shit about it, but they're there.
Like our lives.
Right, exactly. So basically, putting the number of the event, and they kind of do that in a lot of wrestling things. So, or like their big events for other promotions as well. So. Yeah, I could say that, and I think I do actually like it with the actual numbers instead of the year.
Yeah, because if you just said what happened in WrestleMania 2012, it takes a second to.
Yeah, you'd have to kind of go back and okay, so this happened. I think Rock faced Cena maybe. And
was it? I can't remember. Unless you said the number, I can't remember.
Right.
Well, I bet the Undertaker won that one.
Yeah, because
Although I don't remember what year it was when he lost.
It was 30. Wait, it was 30. WrestleMania 30, right?
I think so.
See, look, there we go. See?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
But there you go. I could not tell you what year it was. I could tell you WrestleMania 30. So yeah.
Maybe it's a thing that people associate. Not like it's easier because you're associating numbers. So numbers are a little easier to match a description to.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's a title. It's almost like it's a full. It's WrestleMania 30. Not
like that is the title. Yeah.
Right. That's the whole title where you're associated to that. Like you knew what happened at WrestleMania. Now you add the 30. And it's another identifier to that event. But if you say, "Oh, back in 2013 at WrestleMania," then you're like, "I don't know. I'd have to go look at Wikipedia."
It's like, "Oh, that's 4 years ago. I don't know if I can remember." But then,
you could figure it out, but you have to walk it back. But
yeah. All right. So my little triple threat topic, whatever we're gonna call, we'll figure out a name. Keeping with my theme of what mine are. So SpaceX, who is owned by Elon Musk, they have taken a rocket that was already been used and they relaunched it and landed it at the same so they launched it. It was in the air for a little bit and then it came back down and landed on a landing pad. So you're laughing. What are you laughing for?
Your theme just trying to blow our minds?
Yeah.
Is that what your theme last week?
Basically.
The operating system? Or not last week. So,
yeah.
That's a big deal, though, because, that usually doesn't happen. They usually, I'm pretty sure, after they use a rocket, it goes in a fucking museum most times. It's done. So to be able to actually, reuse, that's kind of getting further closer to, space travel, I kind of feel like. Because, think about an airplane. It gets used several times a day. Obviously they're not going to shoot a rocket several times a day at this juncture, but it's kind of like the birth of that starting. And I believe it's him too. Elon said that he wants to start doing like space travel, like actually like within the next year or two or something. He wants to send. I forgot what it was.
He
I know I
wants
saw
to.
something.
It's either Mars or the Moon. He wants to send, like, a rocket, or maybe even people with it, like to the Moon or to Mars, and then land, obviously, and then come back.
Right.
That's what the implications are of this.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. Oh, I didn't even think of it that way.
Yeah, that's kind of what the purpose is to be able to go to a different planet or the moon or whatever, and then land and come back with a rocket.
The same.
Yeah. So it's like it's kind of like usually rockets will help a spaceship get into outer space, and then a rocket just either falls down or just like blows up or whatever.
Yeah.
So kind of crazy.
That's nuts.
Justin.
Oh, my turn. Sorry.
We'll get the third
my
of the
little.
Brett, jeez.
Jeez Louise. I didn't know if you were done. I thought you just want to keep talking about Elon Musk because he's your hero.
I love that guy.
All right. So news came out that I think it was this past week actually that Spider-Man may actually leave the Marvel Cinematic Universe after the second Spider-Man standalone movie. Do you think that'll actually happen, or do you think they'll make a new deal, or do you think? And what do you think about that, just in general? That Sony, or I think Sony's the one that's kind of got to deal with that.
I think it's real dumb.
Yep.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm sure once Infinity War comes out and they see all that money that they're getting, they're like, okay, we change our minds. Let's just stay here.
Right. It's because Spider-Man's one of the top probably 2 or 3 like Marvel superheroes popularity wise. So once I think people, as good as this movie looks already, like just the first Spider-Man, as good as it's gonna do, they're gonna be like, okay, screw that, we're keeping him in, for a long time. And I hope they keep the same goddamn actor. Like,
well, because that's the other thing I read too is that when people are wondering, like, okay, so and then if this deal ran out or whatever, and they didn't, would they just reboot Spider-Man again? Because that would be just ridiculous. I think at this point, I think they finally got it right, and it's like, just stop now, just stick with what you're doing, stick with Disney and Marvel, and just go with it. Like, quit it. Just collect your money and move on. I wish X-Men would do the same damn thing, to be honest.
True. Pretty true about that. Speaking of
X-Men versus Avengers, be real good. That's all I want to say about that.
That would actually be pretty good. Bring back Hugh Jackman. That'd be pretty good.
Exactly.
That'd be pretty good. Well, with that kind of brings up a thing with it's the stuff of people complaining about Spider-Man and like things like that's kind of little petty. Sometimes it's like
a little petty.
Oh my God, there's people in Michigan that can't drink water from their house because it's dirty. Like, that's a big issue, and we're like complaining about Spider-Man.
First world problems.
Right. Want to get your guys' thoughts on people in today's world who have stand up their butts and get offended by really petty stuff. Similar, I mean, that not even more petty than like the Spider-Man thing. Like that, that's a big thing. But like, for example, let's say, what was it, the Starbucks cups around Christmas time? How they don't have like Christmas or anything on them; they're just red. Like, what are your thoughts on people nowadays in society getting offended by petty shit?
There is a bunch of things. I actually made a list because I didn't want to forget any of it. Because I was like, there's stuff that I've seen, and that Starbucks cup was probably the first thing. And that wasn't last year. I think it was the year before, because then they did something different. But literally, they're like, red cups, that's not Christmassy enough. There's not enough Jesus on it. This is ridiculous. And I was just like, it's not the only holiday, you freaking idiots. Like, it's a red cup. You drink coffee out of it. You don't want. They go to Dunkin' Donuts. They probably have a nice cup. Who cares? Like, stuff like that. And then like that Walking Dead shirt. It said "Eeny, meeny, miny, mo," and people are like, "That's racist," and I'm like, "What? It's "Eeny, meeny, miny, mo." Oh, kids hitting shit on my watch. Anyways, he's like, "Let's find your phone." All right. Anyways, it's in my hand. It's right here. You'll learn. Anyways, but yeah, there's just a bunch of stuff. Another thing that recently happened is something I kind of found crazy was the gaming web. Well, I guess not only gaming, but kind of funny. Colin Moriarty on the Day Without a Woman posted something, and literally it was a joke. It was literally it wasn't like even like super crazy, but then like everyone attacked him, and now he's not there anymore. I guess from what I read, they don't really have. They weren't. There's some other issues going on too, and it was something he was grabbing towards anyways. But now he's gone, and it just turned into a big thing. And it's like it's a joke. Like he just I think said like peace and quiet #day without a woman. It was a joke. It's not even that crazy. Like it wasn't even like the greatest joke, but it was funny enough. It was fine. Like and people were freaking out. And I'm like, what the hell is the deal here? And the last one I had on my list was I think it was last year for the dumb holiday 420. Snapchat had a filter of Bob Marley, and everyone was calling that racist. And I was like, it's a freaking Snapchat filter. Like, come on. Like, it's a Snapchat filter. Like, oh.
Yeah. And it's also not racist because everybody knows Bob Marley loved to smoke weed.
Right. It was, yeah. I know. I don't know. There's this stuff about him. I just look and I just shake my head. There was another Snapchat filter, I think, for the Women's Month or something that people were like, this is stupid. And then it's like, I don't know. There's a lot of people freaking out about things like that where it's like, it's a t-shirt, it's a cup, it's a freaking Snapchat filter. Why are you so angry over this when like shit's going crazy in the world? There's freaking ISIS and there's this and there's that. You should be using that energy towards that type of stuff, not cups. Like,
oh my God, my life is ruined because my Starbucks cup isn't red and green and
have a snowflake. God damn it!
Yeah, Tony.
I'm right there with Justin. I've been following the kind of funny thing with Colin because I'm a big fan of theirs, and obviously him and his other one of the other guys, Greg Miller, they're big PlayStation guys, so they have a PlayStation podcast. Jeez,
just kidding.
And like it's just so dumb that people get mad at them about a little joke that's like not even that sexist, and like it just gets me mad that somebody makes a joke like that that's not really offensive or anything, but all of a sudden you just turn on them and complain about it for no reason. And also with the thing of like recently, like Dave Chappelle, he had his comedy special come out on Netflix, and there's been some stuff about because he makes gay jokes, and people are outraged. And I'm like, he's a comedian. He's making
Dave
jokes.
Fucking Chappelle.
The day that you don't let stand-up comedians make jokes about just about anything is the day where like stand-up comedy basically dies, because that's like I feel like that's the one area where like you can kind of get away with stuff because it's understood that it's a comedian, it's a joke. It's not necessarily how they feel. They're just making jokes because it's funny.
Yeah.
When you start saying you can't make those type of jokes anymore, that's a problem to me, like a big problem to me, because I really am someone that enjoys stand-up comedy. So when you start saying like, oh, you can't make gay and transgender jokes, it's like, no, they can totally do that.
I can, because fuck you, I'm going to make my own joke.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever.
I mean,
well, I was gonna say, like, when people making jokes, like Dave Chappelle, like he's making a transgender joke. It's not like if he goes out and he got arrested for beating up a transgender person because they were transgender, that's when it crosses the line, and that's when like, okay, you know, that's bad. But he's not like being like, I fucking hate transgenders and gay people and everything. It's like he's just making a goddamn joke. It's like people are laughing at it, so obviously why don't you yell at the people who find it funny that he's making fun of these people? Yeah. Like, obviously all the people that are laughing are also just as bad as he is.
The thing is, though, is he makes fun of everyone. So it's like you can't be like, oh, you can't make fun of these people only. Because that's not fair, because it's like, well, everyone's getting made fun of. He's making fun of everyone. So it's like, that's what comedians do. They make fun of everyone. So it's like, well, if you say like, oh, well, hold up, you made fun of them. That was okay. You can make fun of, you know, amputees.
You can make fun of the black guys, but you can't make fun of the gay guys.
Yeah, you can't make fun of that guy. No, that's where I said go. No, hey, ceiling.
Hey, ceiling. Yep, it flipped.
Yeah, I'm right there with Justin because I mean, if you don't, him making fun of like making gay jokes, that kind of means like, hey, we're all, you know, I can make fun of a black person, a white person, transgender, gay, you know, anything, you know, kind of excluding it, didn't I kind of put more attention to it? Like, I'm not gonna make fun of you, but
that will be the next thing. They'll be like, he won't make gay jokes.
Yeah,
he's like, he doesn't like them, so he won't make jokes.
Right. I hate gay people. I'm not going to talk about them.
It's kind of like that PewDiePie thing we talked about on that one episode, where literally everyone was freaking out. I mean, it was a joke. It was like, all right. I mean, I understand it was a little different because obviously he's back. He had Disney, and then so there's deals.
Yeah.
So it's a little different, but just because, you know, when you're connected with those type of companies, you should probably be a little bit carefuler. But just because obviously those companies have a certain image, but yeah,
petty shit. It's people. It's just because of how much access people have to stuff nowadays, and people have the ability to start bitching and complaining behind their keyboard. Yep, behind their keyboard.
Yeah, it's social media is a big thing because if you think about it, we didn't have access to all of this information. You only saw it on the news or read it in maybe a magazine or a newspaper, and that's you don't get that instantly. And I think nowadays with social media, something happens and 3 seconds later, there's a person that videotaped it, or there's a person that puts a tweet out, and then people retweet it or like it, and it just gets big, and then everyone knows about it within an hour tops.
Yeah. Like if that Negan shirt that says "Eeny Meeny Miny Mo" came out in 2000, nobody would give a fuck. Like they would. You wouldn't even. I didn't even know it was a racist thing. Like
I honestly didn't either. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, so back in like the 1800s, this was a thing. Like, oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, we're not.
And the thing is, I looked up. It's not even like the original. If it was the original one, I could say like, okay, I understand a little bit why some people would be upset. But here's another thing about that, like especially with the racist stuff, I almost feel like a lot of times you see it's more just like white people like flipping out about the stuff, and I'm just like, well, I'm like, well, I don't know about that.
It's that white guilt, I tell you, man. It's something.
It's racist. People said it was racist towards black people because of the whole slavery thing and whatever. But then it's like white people complaining about it for black people.
It's like if they were upset about it, then they would say like someone like if that was like, oh, okay, you're right. Then you're right. But like you said, it's like the white guilt thing because literally all the comments on that story were like, this is racist, and it was like all like white 4-year-old women and like men, and I was just like, well, I don't see anyone here that is black going, oh, this is racist. So same thing with Bob Marley.
You find the shirt racist?
I don't find it racist. No.
Okay.
No.
There you go.
No.
Full disclosure, Tony's black guy, so it's okay. He can.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Well, if they went and checked out your Twitter or your Instagram,
_.
They ain't checking. They ain't gonna check it out. It's all right.
Yeah,
I'll check it.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Justin. Thank you.
So, Justin, you got a rant for us?
Shit, what was? Oh yeah, sorry. I got a baby on my lap that I'm trying to keep from exploding like a time bomb, so I'm trying to figure it out. Okay, yeah. So Tony kind of touched on it last episode about kind of like reviews and kind of the reviewers themselves, kind of like almost sometimes making shitty reviews, and it almost seems like they're doing it on purpose. But what I wanted to kind of talk about in light of Mass Effect Andromeda coming out was fan reaction to reviews, and that's something that's been grinding my gears last few weeks because I'm not going to review Andromeda yet because I just haven't beat it, and I'd rather beat it first before I actually go into the whole thing. But from what I've been playing, I like it. I'm a Mass Effect fan, so is it as good as the old ones? Maybe not, but it's still a very good game. But on Metacritic, it has a 77 score, and everyone that I talk to that isn't a fan or hasn't played it goes, "Oh, I was going to get Mass Effect, but I heard it sucks." And that literally just drives me insane nuts in my head. Because I'm like, a 77 out of 100 does not mean it's a shit game. That is not how reviews work. Reviews work means it's good. It has some flaws, technically, mostly. But 77 means it's a good game. You should probably check it out if you're interested. But just don't expect Game of the Year quality game. It's going to be a good game. It's not going to be the greatest game of all time, is basically what it's saying. It's not going to be for, Horizon Zero Dawn or Zelda. It's not going to be that quality of game. It's still going to be good. It's still worth time playing. But people have this thing where it's like, if it's lower than a 9, it's shit. And it's like, no, that is not how game reviews work. And actually, I like some of the websites. I don't like Kotaku, for instance, does this, where they don't actually put a number on their thing. They're like, you read our review, and you just go off what we say, and that's how you should take it. Like, don't, because some people just look at the number and go, oh, this is shit, without even reading the review and seeing why the person lowered the score from a 10 down to a 7.7 or whatever it is. So that's like the main thing. It's just like, because that's not how reviews are really supposed to work. There's the other numbers are there for a reason. It's not like it's got to be an 8 or 5 or 9 or 10 to be playable. It just, if it's a 5 or lower, now you can go, okay, this game's not that good. Something's up here. Maybe I should just skip this. But the other thing too is like we're kind of talking. You should make your own opinion. Like you should, if you wanted to play that game, don't let someone else's review because that's any of these websites. It's one person's thoughts on the game. So you should play it yourself and make your own opinion. Now, if you're on the fence, that's really what reviews are for too. Is people on the fence. So if you were like, I'm kind of interested in this game, I'm going to read reviews first to see if I should get it or I shouldn't get it. It sounds like something I should get. When not if you're already planning to get it and then go, oh, I'm not going to get it now because it's a 7. It's kind of silly to me because it's like a 7 is still, it's not a great score, but it's still good. So, I don't know. That was basically the gist of it. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but it's just that type of stuff just drives me nuts. Like, oh, I heard it sucks. Because my one coworker, he was like, yeah, I was going to get Mass Effect, but I heard it sucks. And I was like, well, I said, I've been playing it. I love it. But I said, it's still, they had like almost an 8. It was a 77. On Metacritic, he goes, yeah, it's just not very good. And I was just like, I just wanted to like, but I'm like, I'm gonna save this.
One thing with the ratings, like you're saying, it's like a 77 out of 100. But when you look at that number solely, you're like, oh, that's kind of a C plus number when you look at just the number. But then you also have to look at the games that got a 90 or a 95 or whatever, like. Those, look at that type of quality game, and then look at the games that got a 30. Like, they're like, oh, it sucks because they got 77. There's like tons of games that got less than 50, like you're saying. So you have to look at the scale, not just the number, but in a whole, like where they've ranked games. If you're going to look at it that way, and then like you said, you really have to have your own opinion, unless you're hashtag same person like we are. You know what I would like, and I know what you would like, and like what we would hate. And then same thing with Tony. And then but then like you said, you're reading Kotaku, and the guy's like, well, this game's gonna suck because it doesn't do this, this, and this, and this is pretty bad. You're like, oh well, can't do it now because I don't have my own opinion because I'm just another drone in this society.
Well, the thing too with Mass Effect, the biggest thing is leading into it. The biggest thing that people were talking about, the facial animations, and I almost feel like that kind of affected. I feel like people wanted to hate that game for some reason. I don't know if it was because of Mass Effect 3's ending, and then in that case, those people that are still hanging on to Mass Effect 3 ending not being exactly what they want need to
talk about people hating petty shit.
Right. Yeah. It's like it's the game. Like that's what they decided to do. Like I played it. Granted, I played it after they supposedly quote unquote fixed it, but I still was like, this is fine. It's not the greatest ending of all time, obviously, but it's fine, whatever. And I feel like if you're still hanging on to something from like, I think it was like 5-6 years ago, it's like time to move on. Like, and this is a whole new game with a whole new situation, new characters, new everything. It's like time to move on. Like, so if that's why people are like, oh, wanting to hate it right away, it's like, oh, I'm still pissed about this, I'm gonna make them pay. Then it's kind of silly, but yeah.
Well, speaking of Tony, did you have anything you wanted to
I'm right there with Justin. I've kind of gotten away from the number reviews because I'm more interested in what you want to say. So if somebody gives a game a 7, I'll go and read to see why, because maybe the reason they gave it a 7 is not the reason. It's not something a deal breaker for me. For instance, there's a game I can't remember the name now. PlayStation, The Order 1886.
Yep.
Yeah, it didn't get that great of reviews. It got average, middling, and I bought it and played it, and I enjoyed it. And I can see why it got the reviews it got, but I still had enjoyment. So if I was the person like, oh, they gave it a 6.5 or 6.7, and I'm not going to buy it, I would have never played it, and I never would have gotten the enjoyment, as opposed to saying, you know what? It says this is the reason they don't like it. You know what? I'll try it anyway. No, I actually enjoy this a lot.
Yeah.
So
because you actually have your own opinions and you know what you like, so it's like.
Yes,
gotta give it a chance.
Yeah,
and it works the other way too, because like I'm not personally a fan of the Metal Gear Solid series. It's just not for me. But that gets great reviews all the time. But it's not going to mean I like it. I mean, I'll go play it. I'll be like, I just don't like this game. It's just the way it is. So it's like one of those things where it's like you can't only depend on reviews because that's based on the guy that reviews it or girl, their opinion or taste. So it's like if it's not the same as me, it's not going to work. So your score is not going to mean anything really to me.
Yeah, so that's like the new Tom Clancy, the Ghost Recon game.
Yeah,
like that got pretty good reviews if I remember correctly. And then we played it, Justin, and we didn't like it that much. Like it was
fine, but we had more fun like just screwing around doing stupid shit
than actually playing the game.
doing, just killing each other with cars and shit than actually playing the game. So it just felt a little bit all the same. I mean, obviously that was the beta, but still, it was like one of those things where, it just wasn't for us. So that's the thing. It's not every game is for everyone. It's, that's something people need to consider too. It's like, okay, well, that's why, Order 1886 is actually a really great example because everyone I know that's played that game has said, like, it was a good game. Like, no, it wasn't like game of the year, but it was a good game. Like, I'm glad I played it. It's kind of like Rise on Xbox One, which is actually free right now. Like, that game got launched, like, it's too many time. What do they call those things? With the buttons where you hit the button.
Quick time events.
Quick time events. They're like, it's quick time event the game, and I'm like, well, okay, well, that wasn't a problem in this game, when those games came out. Now, why is it a problem now? And then you play it, and you're like, this is fine. It's a good game. It's a decent story. It's fine. But it got shit reviews. I'm almost positive. So it's like, you just got to kind of like do things for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of reviews.
Fuck the haters.
Speaking of reviews, saw Power Rangers when it came out. And that movie is amazing. I think it's really good. It definitely has the nostalgic feels that they were going for. And if you haven't seen it, you should see it. If you liked Power Rangers, if you had any inclination of liking Power Rangers or any like at any point in your life of Power Rangers, you watched it, you kind of enjoyed it, you'll love this movie. But if you don't really know anything about Power Rangers or didn't like them, I probably wouldn't say to go see this movie. It's one of those ones that we talked about where I'm pretty sure the critics, the film critics be like, this movie's stupid. It's not that good. It's got this and this and this. But I fucking loved it. So
it's one of those things where, like, if you're already have a history with the series, then basically you'll probably enjoy this. But if not, then it's kind of a toss-up.
Yeah, it's got that Batman versus Superman feel for us, where people said it wasn't that good, but all three of us loved it because we like Batman and Superman. Like, that's
right
kind of thing. So I would definitely go see it. We'll actually still give some numbers for our reviews. I would say I'd give it an 8 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
So pretty good.
It's not a 9 out of 10, so I'm not going to go see it.
Nope. There you go. That's how things work.
God, that sounds that movie sucks. Fuck that movie.
Right, Justin, what review you got?
Actually, we're recording this Sunday. Last night was NXT TakeOver in Orlando. Orlando. And so basically, overall, I'm going to start with the score. I give it a 7 out of 10. Only reason why is because other than the tag match in the main event, it was kind of a little bit of slop drag. The women's match was good too. But there was a new debuting, I think his name's Aleister Black, and he was facing off against...
That's racist.
He's white, but all right. Well, that's even more racist. The perennial NXT takeover jobber, Cien Omos. And, it was a good... His entrance was really cool. And I was like, wow, I'm into this guy. This guy's going to be cool. And like, they're making it seem like he's definitely going to be a big deal in NXT. And I was like, okay, cool. And then, like... he was wrestling, and it was just a lot of kicks. It was just a lot of kicks the whole time. So it's kind of like, okay, I'm like, this guy's okay. And it was just the match started to kind of drag towards the end, and it kind of got a little sloppy at one point. I don't know if that was intentional, just because it was just supposed to be like, oh, they're kicking the shit out of each other, like literally kicking the shit out of each other. But that match kind of was like, okay. The opening match was all right with Sanity, and the mishmash team that they were facing. The tag match honestly might be my match of the year right now. It was really, 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 really good. Like, even if you only watch that match, even if you're not a wrestling fan, I'd suggest watching that match because that match was excellent. The main event was good. It started out kind of slow, but by the end, it started picking up. It was a good match as well. So, but overall, yeah, I said what I say, a 7 out of 10. That's probably about right. It was definitely something. Like I said, 7 out of 10. You should watch it if you're into wrestling for sure, but most people probably will anyways if they're going to. But yeah, I enjoyed it, especially that tag match. That tag match is a lot of that rating right there because it was really good.
Yeah, I probably won't watch it, but Tony will probably watch it.
I'm gonna drive 12 hours right now, and I'm gonna freaking tie you to that bed, and I'm gonna make you watch it.
All right, you're gonna tie me to the bed, huh? Kind of creepy.
I with this kind of got a little weird right now. I'm gonna tie you to the bed, and I'm gonna watch you watch NXT Takeover online.
Oh goodness! It puts the video on the screen. Speaking of reviews, again, we'll kind of keep that going. Let's close this podcast out with what our favorite game from 2016 was, or still is, because the BAFTA, I believe it is, Justin, the British something for film and television awards, whatever it is. They're doing a video game. The video game awards are coming up for that, and so they're giving out their ratings basically of what they think is the best. So just want to get your guys' take on what your favorite or the best game of 2016 was. Tony?
For my money, I'm gonna say my favorite game last year was Uncharted 4. It was a great story. I followed the game since the first one, and me personally, I'm a big single player story guy. So, you give me good action, good story, the game plays good, you had me. So that would be my game of the year. And it looked, and it's a beautiful game.
10 year.
I would give it 9, 10, but it was a really, really good game. It's slightly different because there's a lot of like walking and talking as opposed to action stuff.
Yeah.
Which I still, like I said, I'm a big story guy. So just building the world, the story, even though,
even though it was a little slower for you, it kept you.
It still kept me. Yeah. Yeah. And even though there was certain story elements of like, hey, this main character has a relative who you've never heard of before, and he's just here now. But it was still good, good story, good characters. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Justin?
My favorite game from last year is one that I don't think showed up on many lists, but I was a big fan of Watch Dogs 1, even though that kind of got, reviews. But Watch Dogs 2, to me, was just – I had literally so much fun with that game. I liked the story. I liked how they made it a lot more lighthearted than the first one, even though I did like the first one. I loved the hacking stuff. I think one day, I just got sidetracked because for an hour – I got to say it was an hour – I was taking cars and I was hacking them and making it a giant pileup on a highway. And I was literally just laughing until tears because I was just piling cars up. And then they'd get out of the car and I'd run them over with their own car. And I was just like, I don't know why, but for whatever reason, that was just so fun. But like the story was good. There was twists and turns and it was kind of really good. I actually borrowed it from a friend and I kind of wish I still had it because I'd probably buy the DLC because I actually really liked the game. So, yeah, if I had to give it a score, I'd probably give it an 8.5 out of 10. It was just a really, really just like fun game. Like it was just fun. Like that was just like the biggest thing that stuck with me. It was like I actually like looked forward to playing it, not just because like, oh, I gotta get this stuff done. I was like literally just having fun playing it, just messing around with the drone and the RC car. And there's just so much little gadgets and gizmos and hacks and stuff you can do in the game. And yeah, I really enjoyed my time with the game. It was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, if you can have that much fun, then that's pretty much that means a game. Like that's more of what kind of rating and review I want to see is like what's the funometer on that
right.
game,
Yeah, because we've actually talked about that if we ever down the road decided like actually like make reviews that we would actually not do like a review of like how good this game based on art or anything, just like how fun is this game.
Right.
That's kind of the thing I want to see, but yeah.
Yeah, so my 2016 game favorite game for me was Forza Horizon 3. I love the first two. They've definitely from the first to the second and then to the third, they've increased the fun, they've increased different things you can do, they've added so much stuff. And just the open world driving, like it's just fun. It's just a fun game to do. They've got great music in the game and it looks incredible. I mean, Forza Motorsports, the regular racing game, looks a little bit better just because they have tracks and stuff to do. But I mean, even like Forza Horizon, just like driving, I'm pretty sure at one point my wife came downstairs and looked at the TV and she goes, "Wait, what are you watching?" And I'm like, "I'm not watching anything. Like I'm driving a car on a video game." Like that's how I don't know. It's just fun for me.
Yeah, when I played the demo, that was the one thing that like caught me right away. Like, damn, this game looks like real good.
Yeah. So I mean, it's fun. You get to drive The third one, it's based on Australia, so you get to drive dune buggies and you get to drive, some like off-road trucks, and then you can take your Lamborghini, whatever, and just driving that through the outback. Like it's kind of crazy. You're taking this $300,000 car and you're just gonna keep doing jumps and flips and shit with it. So pretty fun, pretty fun stuff. So.
Can I take a guess as to what both of you's game of 2017 will be?
I don't know, Justin. I don't know if I know what my 2017.
I'm kind of joking about something. What comes out?
2 will definitely probably be my game of the year, just because that's the game I'll spend the most time with. I was actually going to jokingly say Rise of Iron is my game of 2016, but I was like, that's good. And to be honest, that wasn't actually my favorite thing I did.
No.
It was good, but it wasn't as good as.
Yeah. Destiny 2 hype train, September 8th.
Yeah, I won't go to work ever again. I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose my house, but I'm going to be Destiny 2 before then.
Yeah, well, maybe you can keep babysitting your son when your wife takes him and leaves you.
I got babysitting my kid. Wait, so aren't you just taking care of your kid? Nah, I'm babysitting. My wife does this. I'm not going to complain.
All right, guys. I think we talked long enough. Nobody else wants to hear us talk anymore, so we'll.
Can I mention something real quick?
No.
Okay.
Sure, go ahead.
Part of the changes we didn't actually touch on in the beginning is, for one, we're actually not going to cover sports on this podcast anymore. Me and Steven, or Gal, however you know him as, I know him as Gal, we'll just do a separate sports cast. I think we're going to do like once a month, we decided.
Yeah, once a month, something like that.
We'll see how it goes. But yeah, we're going to do one right before the NFL draft. We're going to just we'll figure out, we haven't figured out exact specifics, but we're going to do that. Another thing is, if you want to see our sexy, handsome faces, you can go to YouTube, because I'm actually going to put this up, not just as a podcast, but you can also go watch our hangout on YouTube. So that's another option if you don't like using a podcast app. You can
that way, when we do air quotes, then people who are listening to the podcast can't see our air quotes. They can now see our air quotes.
So I think that's the only other changes that I know of.
I mean, obviously the big change is Downtown Tony Brown will be joining us.
Downtown Tony. Is it going to stick?
Hey, you started it. Downtown.
Yeah.
Downtown Tony Brown. Yeah, and that intro won't happen ever again until next year.
For WrestleMania 34.
When I come to visit in July, maybe I'll be pretty drunk, and who knows what will happen.
Yeah, that's true.
So, that is very anything could happen at that point.
Right. Well, as always, you can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes. Same Person Radio is the name. You can also go to feeds.feedburner.com/samepersonradio. Check us out on our official Twitter page at Same Person Radio. Justin's Twitter at Leviathan426. Myself at Galvin93. Tony is at Tony Brown on Twitter and at Omega Sanction _ on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook as well, facebook.com/Same Person Radio. Let us know what you think by using hashtag Same Person Radio. Thanks for listening, guys, and I will see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.